Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy.
Who's done a terrific job.
Why, thank you. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Streaming live on the internet.
And I think you said you're going to test that too.
We did test it. Yeah, it works sometimes. Starting soon. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Doing online shows.
For much longer than I would have liked.
Suit yourself. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. From their tidied up offices.
And then I see the disinfectant.
You do not want to know what happened in there before. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Answering the questions from
you, the people of this country.
If you email them in comics@somenews.co.uk or tweet at Mr. Stephen Allen or at Erich McElroy. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Starting soon.
In a minute. 1 minute.
Well, maybe a bit longer than a minute, but soon. Soon. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. The web show we started because we were out of work.
And it is still true.
All right, don't rub it in. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Using their expertise to solve problems.
You're going to have to use medical doctors with.
Nope, just two comedians talking rubbish out of their face holes. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Lockdown 2020, giving Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy bigger compassion, time to write.
And guts.
Hell yeah.
You've shown and are continuing to show.
Only when we stand up on webcam. Hello, and welcome to Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Erich McElroy.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. This is a show, if you've not seen it before, where we are two comics who are in quarantine still, and we solve problems because we have nothing else to do because we are not deemed essential. We don't work at a retail shop. We don't work at a zoo. We don't work anywhere except for here for you.
We don't work there yet, but the way things are going, you never know. Need someone mucking out, got a big pile of dung that needs shifting, I'll be there, and I hope that's the zoo I'm talking about.
Exactly. But we cover the news, cover your problems if you want to send them in to us. But there's plenty going on in the world that we are here to solve. Yeah,
update from your British news is about the fact that we're bubbling. Every day I'm bubbling. This is, the update is that single people can stay the night with loved ones. This was the update yesterday from our dear Prime Minister. And straight away, the newspaper... I mean, this is actually quite a sweet thing. If you are living on your own or a single parent, you can effectively attach to another family unit. It won't increase the spread that much, and it can help to deal with the loneliness that we're facing. That's not what the newspapers have done with it. Straight away, they found the sex angle. As soon as the lockdown changes go, they always go, who does that mean you can have sex with? The Mirror went with... Housemates will have to choose who gets to have sex in new lockdown measures. The Metro went with opening up for summer. That might not have been a sex one. Still, delightful mental image. And this is what they've done for ages. So the last time we had the news that you could have cleaners and whatnot come around your house, you could have 6 friends in the garden, but they can't stay over. The newspapers went, well, if you don't live with your partner, it means you can't have sex with them. I mean, we found the loopholes on previous episodes. It just means you either have to get them to clean your entire house before you sleep with them. Good luck trying to do that. Or you bang your cleaner. I can't remember what the solution was. Google it before you do it. It's not my fault if you get sued. But this is what they've been doing. They found the sex problem. And I think we spotted this a couple of days ago, Eric. Last time we did a show, we pointed out that clearly single-parent families were getting a bit sex-starved. When I went for a run and ran past that woman's house and this was in the window, NHS Rainbow, she was sending a message. But what do you do if you're in a single-parent family or if you're living alone and you don't have someone that you can bubble with? That's why I spent most of my evening last night developing the new Bumbler app. The Bumbler app it's a bit like Tinder, but if you just want to attach to another family unit and have some bubbler sex and want to get inside someone's bubble get yourself download. I'm going to make $1 million on this, Eric. It's my plan.
Yeah.
But the mathematical problem is, if you've got flatmates, so 2 people live in the same place, only one of them can have a visitor for the sex reasons. So flat shares means only one person. That's what the headline was in the Mirror. Flatmates have to pick which one gets to have sex, which means there are going to be some really difficult conversations.
Hi, sorry to bother you. Look, you know that the government's got this whole thing about a bubble?
Yeah.
Well, basically it means only one of our girlfriends can come round for, sex.
Okay.
I think it should be mine.
Why?
We've been together longer. She lives nearer. I asked first. There's no good reason for it, but I really think it should be mine.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Really? You don't mind? Oh, thank you.
How are we going to do it then? You get Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and we threesome on a Sunday.
Acting. Yeah. Well done. Well done. If that hadn't been the joke that you went for, I would have been very disappointed for you.
Thank you.
I've been like, that's not the Steve that I know.
Of course. We can all see that joke coming a mile off, right from the first headline. But
I mean, there's no other way. I mean, I think it's a good solution. I've been in contact with a number of, even though we don't live as a single unit, I've been in touch with a lot of couples I know.
Okay, surely that's the next step. That's the next thing Boris will say is okay. You can't stay for too long, but you can have just one swinging partner, and keeps the COVID down.
Keeps the COVID down and keeps the rest of the things up.
If you'd like to send us a message, let's have a look. Ryan McDonald says, when it comes to solving problems, start with that Barnett. I don't know whose we're talking. It's both. They're looking pretty bad.
Barnett? Barnett, is that a British slang thing? I don't know what a Barnett is.
It is. It's a hair thing.
All right. There we go. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
he's clearly talking to me then.
Well, yeah, but this is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it's happening. I like that. I like that the shading. It's like it gives your head texture, because otherwise you don't know where your head ends. So
Yeah.
that just gives it shape. It's like the shading.
it's effectively shading. Okay.
It's effective shading.
Carry on bubbling, says Stephen Leatherdale, and Mark says, it gives new meaning to job share. Fair enough. Any messages, send them through wherever you're watching it, and don't forget the donate link is down the bottom.
Yep, feel free to chuck us a coffee every now and then. We appreciate that. Well, obviously the big news still that has managed to surpass COVID-19 as the world global story is the movement that we're in right now with Black Lives Matter, and looking at some things that, whether it's an old statue or perhaps the name of an old military base, whether it's really appropriate in 2020 anymore. And in the U.S., it turns out, and I did not know this, and I'm a fairly proud American, Steve. Did you know that 10 of the U.S. current Army bases are named after generals, but those generals are Confederate generals?
Ooh, interesting.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with the history of the United States and the Civil War of the United States, where one part of the United States broke away and tried to attack the original United States. Those were the Confederates. So you would think that naming bases after them, it would be basically like a lot of people have said, well, the English named Waterloo as a station, as sort of to the French. It'd be like the French naming one of their stations Waterloo.
Okay, nice.
Flicking it around. You've embraced the fact that you've lost the war. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. So the Army actually said this week that they wanted to look at renaming these bases, that naming these huge military outposts after these failed generals probably didn't make a lot of sense. Now, of course, the Army said that, but you can imagine what Trump and his administration said. They weren't so keen, as you can see.
Fort Bragg is known for the heroes within it that trained there, that deployed from there, and it's an insult to say to the men and women who left there the last thing they saw on American soil before going overseas, and in some cases losing their lives, to tell them that what they left was inherently a racist institution because of a name. That's unacceptable to the president, and rightfully so.
Yeah. That is unacceptable. That those soldiers who are leaving those bases in the United States, that the last thing they see is the name of a place like Fort Bragg, right? Those soldiers, many of whom are predominantly African American, and the last thing they see before they leave the country that they are dying to defend is the name of a fort named after a Confederate general that tried to keep them in slavery. How dare they try and change that name?
Yeah.
Now, the base that she's talking about is called Fort Bragg in this instance. Now, General Bragg, we got a picture of him so we can see him somewhere. There we go. There's General Bragg. Nice guy. A little bit of research on General Bragg, as I do on Wikipedia, because, we take the time to invest in the quality of this show. In the first section of his Wikipedia page, it says, and I quote, Bragg is generally considered among the worst generals of the Civil War. Most of the battles in which he engaged in ended in defeats. Bragg was extremely unpopular with both the men and the office of his command, and the losses which Bragg suffered are cited as the principal factors in the ultimate defeat of the Confederacy.
It's great. Bragg by name, very much not Bragg by nature.
You can see why Trump likes him, though, because if Bragg was in business, he would have had 7 bankruptcies as well.
Yeah.
Now, Trump doesn't want to change the name because he's tied himself to racists and to fascists and all these kinds of things. So you can see why he's like, no, the Confederacy is the only way he could possibly win re-election again, is to get all the white nationalists out to vote for him. But there is one way that we could get him to change the name. Trump loves branding. So all we have to do is change the name from Fort Bragg. We've got a suggestion right here. Fort Bonespur.
He likes
Problem
anything.
solved.
Yeah, anything where he's mentioned, he'll love it.
You love it. See, I'm bringing people together.
Look,
Recognizing change needs to happen.
There is an argument that if you're going to have a statue to any Confederate general, ones who lose really badly are exactly the pick-me-up that the rest of America needs, just to remind
Maybe he
them.
was secretly working for the Union after all.
He probably did more for the Union's success than many Union generals. Louis Schaefer says, very generous to the losers. Maybe that's what America's doing, just giving statues to losers. Chris says, we have Melvin Bragg. Thank you. Probably not the same. Don't know if they're related.
Could have been back then.
Mark's a genuine fact. In Ireland, all the railway stations are named in 1966 after people who were killed by the British Army during the Easter Uprising of 1916. Were named by them. Well, interesting. Yeah, so that's a nice thing that we can do. Is this what we should be doing? Renaming things to make the world a better place and bring people together?
Yeah, I don't know. What would be the biggest British loser you could name something after? Like Fort Dunkirk? I don't know. What would be...
Yeah. It's difficult because we don't really lose a lot.
Oh.
I mean, admittedly, we didn't really hang on to America that well.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Thank you to Chris for giving us a coffee. Thank you very much, Chris. Chris is a regular watcher of the show, so we appreciate that. And it's a great example for anybody else out there that would like to chuck us a drink, a pint, whatever it is. We're preparing for the pubs to be open because, they've cracked this whole COVID thing, so everything's fine.
Yeah. Sharon says, do you think that there'll be a statue of Trump or an army base named after him in years to come? Yeah, Fort Trump. Ooh. Yeah. Which is almost Latin for strong wind. Strange.
There'll be one of those statues, but it'll be one of those blow-up, wiggly-wobbly ones.
Mark says, Fort England football team. Okay, there's been a few losses. I'll give you that. Well played. And the Bishop says, General Bragg had eyebrows like you, Steve. Are you related? I hope not. I'll be taking down my statue next.
You got some nice brows, Steve.
On that point, actually, of statues coming down, there's been more of that over here. So obviously, Bristol, that last time we talked on Tuesday's show, you can see on YouTube, we talked about that. Since then, many other statues and various things have been taken down. I think some people are taking it too far. I saw this on a news website. 5G Mast arsonist claims he only burnt it down because Mast was racist. Feels like that should be a headline on the MASH report. If only we had someone who could read that out well. One of the latest ones is the guy who gave us the Scouts, Robert Baden-Powell. Statue of him has been removed from pool in case people try and pull it down. And I think the irony is Baden-Powell surely would have liked that because that is very much being prepared. And it's not just the statues that's been affected over here. The media has been affected. There's an awful lot of blacking up in there. And on that topic, we both get approached by various media things quite a lot to do stuff. And I was approached by a radio station to go on as a guest, effectively trying to defend blackface in comedy. Would you be available, Steve? No. How far down the list must they have got to if they would thought we'd better give Steve a call? Because it's not as if in any way I'm known for any of this. You know what I mean? In my TV work, never blacked up. Most of my broadcast work has been on radio. You would have to be a special kind of racist to black up to go on radio. On stage, never done it. The closest, I've looked through all of my body of work, the closest I've ever done is on this show. I think it was like episode 14-ish when I got the new webcam and didn't know how to set it up. And obviously in America you've had a similar thing where they've taken Gone with the Wind off of HBO Max or something. Because of the issues with the slaves in it. Effectively, the characters love it. It's a very unsettling portrayal of slavery. And they've taken it down and they're going to put it back on HBO Max with more of a discussion of the troubling points. I think they just need to edit it. It wouldn't take that much editing to make it okay again. I gave it a go, actually.
Oh, Brett, mate, before you go, just wanted to say, the way you're living here, having slaves, I think it's awful.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Ooh, a slave owner and rude. Good day, sir.
There we go. I think that should pop that back on your HBO.
That was some slick editing there. I mean,
with all the special effects.
You're going to be doing some deep fakes pretty soon. So that is incredible. I think our big takeaway from that is you can see why we need contributions for this show so that we can buy Steve an actual wardrobe to have his clothes in. You just have a rack like you're Primark.
Let's see if I can show you. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, you got TV money. You've had, what, 3 series of the MASH report? What are you spending
5
money
series now. Have I never told you why it's still like that?
Why?
Oh, this is nerdy, not for broadcasters. But when I moved in, I had nothing. So I bought that and realised it deadens the sound so much. This is my home studio with a fancy mic. And if I put a wardrobe there, it'll be echoey. But that is just great acoustic tiling. That's why this room sounds so great.
So you should do, if you want to do a TV show or do podcasting, do it in a laundromat.
Yeah.
That's fair. Are those even your clothes, or you just been collecting them from neighbors who
they don't fit anymore? But
self-isolating.
Yeah,
I'll take that down to the dry cleaner for you. No problem.
If they leave it on a washing line, it's mine. I think that's the rule. I didn't Google it, but yeah.
That's brilliant. So yeah, that's where your contributions could go. So you get proper soundproofing or a wardrobe eventually. So well done.
A couple of messages before we move on with this topic. Louis says they love the show. Thank you. And Chris says, again, method acting at its finest.
Yeah. I'll leave all the acting to Steve. It's brilliant.
You keep your messages coming through, but we're talking about the things that have been taken down because of the thing that's happening in society right now, the reckoning.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm as an American, I'm an average free speech person. I believe in complete and utter free speech. I don't think that you should have hate speech legislation. I think you just can't censor what people say. But I'm not one of those people who, whilst I'm for free speech, I do think it's okay to deplatform people because people don't have a constitutional right to be on Twitter or, in this case, to be on HBO Max, taking the Gone with the Wind example. A lot of people have been getting really wound up about that they're coming for this film. You know what? They're coming for Gone with the Wind. And you know what? I haven't watched it, and I wasn't gonna, but it's gone now. Because I'll be honest with you, I've never sat through it. It's really long. It's old. It's boring. Just leave it there. I mean, if that's what our racists are doing, let them stay busy with that. But the hyperbole around them taking down the film was insane. But of course, we saw this headline today, Gone with the Wind. Oh, it's likely to be back on HBO Max next week with an African-American scholar explaining some of the things. So that's all HBO wanted to do, was take it down, provide some historical context, and put somebody on there who could talk about the Black experience, either watching the film or put it in period context. Now, of course, the people were probably outraged about that. They're like, I don't want somebody ruining the film, talking about it, unless it's Morgan Freeman. I mean, he can say anything. I mean, if they get Morgan Freeman to do it, I don't really care. It's fine. But you know what? They're saying it might be back on next week. It might not be back on next week. So I bet there's a lot of people out there going, I can't believe they've taken this away from me. I can't believe, you know what? Unless, of course, I go on Amazon Prime and it's available to watch on Amazon Prime. Okay. Never. Well, that's not a good. What if they take it off Amazon Prime? Well, I mean, what am I going to do then? Oh, I could go on YouTube. Okay. It's available to rent on YouTube. So, but still, that's not good enough. What if they take it off YouTube? Then, you've got Google Play. Which is basically YouTube, I guess, but just a different brand. But still, I mean, I guess, what if I'm old school? What if I want to see the classics actually in the cinema? Where am I going to go? Where is it going to show it? Oh, that's where. Okay, never mind.
Second show in a row that you've Googled that image. Your search history is going to get you in trouble.
I just used the same image, but I couldn't find the original, so I had to go back and find it off the racist teabag from last time, which is not a euphemism, and put it on this one. So it's actually using the same image twice. So I recycled the image.
Man alive, still. You're going to get in trouble.
Either way.
Keep the messages coming through if you're enjoying the show. Spread a link. Let's get more people watching this, because we've only got until another 10 minutes. Make sure you buy us a coffee and keep sharing it. Oh, I've got some bad news for us before we move too much further.
Oh, no. That's not good.
I noticed this. I was trying to do some writing earlier on, spotted this story. Snoring could be getting worse as a result of being in lockdown, experts claim. So I saw that and I thought, how is being in lockdown going to affect snoring? Don't be stupid. This is clearly utter nonsense. And I thought, wait a minute, Steve. This could be a good excuse for snoring. Read further. And I read more, and it turns out that maybe I could blame the whole coronavirus thing on it. I will admit, I was going to... Do I call myself a snoring sufferer? Because, to be honest, it's not me that suffers, it's the other half.
Yep.
I don't suffer at all. To be fair, I sleep right through it, so it can't be that bad. I mean, she describes it as sounding like a whale that's got into trouble in the Thames. But from my point of view, I don't hear anything until I hear the words, "You're snoring again," like I'm in a bar fight with Ray Winston. Get that prod. Like, oh. So, look, I've often said this when it comes to snoring. we shouldn't be ashamed of it, because in terms of evolution, it's the thing that would have stopped a saber-toothed tiger or a wildebeest coming in and attacking us when we were asleep. And, you know, if we were in a cave, you'd be grateful for the fact that I'm saving our life. But now we're not in a cave, maybe, you know, get some context, get some historical context to my snoring. And that, for some reason, never calms anyone down in the middle of the night. Weird. But I've often thought it's a bit like, I'm not doing it deliberately, but it is my fault, because experts said it was to do with if you gain weight, neck fat is the problem. So whenever I've snored, I've realised maybe I should exercise more. But this means it's not my fault, it's lockdown. And this expert said that there are two things. One, knowing that you are confined and can't leave means that you can physically manifest that concept in your throat, which is why you do that more. And what can we do to solve this? We can't leave the house without risking the disease. We can't do anything like that. The same expert said that unhappiness with your relationship and being locked in with someone you're not getting on with can manifest itself as a snore as well. So if your partner's snoring, maybe you should be a little bit nicer to them. Let's see if that... I mean, we could also lie on our sides, but try the first one first.
When I saw that story, I realized that I must have gotten COVID-19 about 20 years ago. My wife, I don't even get the wake up, stop it, you're snoring. My wife just shouts my name at me. She says my name loudly. And then I know, and and I try and expel, and then, like you said.
Ooh. Have you done the tennis ball attached to your pajamas and all that business?
Not for snoring purposes.
Is this one of those
tennis ball in your pajamas?
Let's circle back around to what kind of kinky business is that, where you put tennis balls in your pajamas and she pretends to be Hingis, or which was the Monica Seles, the one who got stabbed? That's taking kinkiness too far, isn't it? The joke that everyone did was she was a grunter on the court every time she hit the thing. The one time she got stabbed, not a peep. Weird. So, before we move on from there, if there are any people with solutions to snoring, keep them coming through on the messages.
Oh yeah, that's always good. And if you want to send us, we do like it when people take a picture of the device that they're watching us on. And if you want to send that to us and email it to us or tweet it at us, you can do at Mr. Stephen Allen or at Erich McElroy. And it's nice to see with the big screens that we're on, because it makes us feel like we're in other places. So whatever device, wherever you are, use discretion. Let us know how you're watching the show. And you can always check us at Ko-fi at kofi.com/comics aren't essential.
Nice.
We appreciate that.
Got some more messages coming up as well.
Okay.
So Stephen Leatherdale says that they should rename the film Temporary Withdrawn with the Wind. I like that.
Nice.
Mark says, between the two of you, Colin Murray, 5 Live, and Janie Godley, you've made things much better. Keep it up. Oh, in terms of us pumping out some content. Do you know what? If we're making the world slightly better with all the crap, I mean, when we started out doing the show, it was just the hideousness of coronavirus, and somehow it's got even worse. Race riots have effectively happened. We've not even managed to talk about the trans issues with what's the J.K. Rowling.
Oh, God.
We didn't even get.
Yeah.
You know, she put some sort of message on her website explaining why she'd said things that have upset the trans community. I had not read it all yet because it's quite. Someone said it's quite a long read. Of course it is. It's J.K. Rowling.
She's done it as a play this time around. So you can only read the script of her getting screamed at by all the actors that have ever been in any of the films that she's inspired.
There's been lots to try and do. Ivor says, just dropping by, enjoying the show. Well done. I'll be gigging with you soon, Friday night, midnight. You can do some searching to see that. And Chris says, snoring is caused by a flabby uvula. I'm very proud of my one, the wife not so. Okay. Nothing wrong with it. You got to let it swing. That's all I'm saying.
That's what J.K. Rowling would say. Maybe.
If you've got an uvula, then you are definitely a man or a woman. Who knows? Not even top scientists.
Neither. Right. Well, we do have one. This might be classified as a good news story. This is going back to the States. And of course, they're dealing with the consequences of COVID there. But I saw this headline caught my eye today that New York City officials are advising kinky Zoom parties, masks during sex amid COVID-19. Now, this is one of these things that you think this cannot be real. But I have downloaded it here from New York City Health. I've got it here. You can find it online. And Steve, they've got some sex tips for you.
Okay.
So,
and do you know what? All I ever need is just the tips.
Oh, that's what she said. There's nothing else to say to that, really. I mean, I can't say there's that. Anyway.
Can't believe we've not done that joke more on the show. That's what she said.
So just for you, Steve, and for anybody who's out there listening, maybe you're getting ready to enter a bubble, but this is official government, New York City. Basically, sex is a normal part of life. Thank you, New York City, but always with consent. It does say that there. But this document that they've published offers 3 pages worth of strategies to fight the risk of spreading COVID-19 during the old getting it on. They don't call it that, but basically, they basically said they've got a lot to learn about COVID-19 and sex, and I still feel like I have a lot to learn about sex. But basically, you can have sex with the only people close to you. That's the first thing.
That's just physically true, isn't it?
And just so it reminds you, you are your safest sex partner.
Okay, good to know.
You, Steve, are your own safe.
No wonder they say wash your hands all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, and it does say that masturbation is probably the safest way you can do it, which is kind of like what we've been doing here.
They say it's safe, but in my opinion, it's the best way to get banned from Costa.
Because you can't go to Costa, so now you just have to stand outside the Costa, which is not good because you're not even supposed to be outside.
You can still log onto their Wi-Fi.
Safest partner is someone you live with.
Yeah.
But obviously, I've been married a long time, so that's not happening.
Back to the masturbation.
Back to step one. Now, it does say that they know that some people are going to go outside the home. They know that some people may be out there fooling around. But because it's New York, because it's a hip, cool town, they give you notes that say here, if company is 2 is company, then 3 or more is definitely a crowd. But if you decide to go for the crowded sex, they tell you how to do it safely. So that's right. You have official orgy-endorsed notes from the New York City government. First, limit the size of your guest list.
Always.
Now, when you're having an orgy, the whole point is not to have anyway. So, but
don't just put an open advert to it on Facebook and then everyone turns up. You don't want to do that.
Kind of like what we're doing here. Anyway, go with a consistent sex partner at the orgy, which again, not the point of the orgy.
Yeah.
And if you're with your own,
It's like going to a restaurant and bringing your own packed lunch.
Exactly. Pick a large, open, and ventilated space.
I wonder what the last word was going to be in that sentence.
Which is a good thing in the UK that the zoos have opened. You know where I'm going to be from Monday with some of my closest friends. Basically, though, the safest way to have sex is video. So sexting, subscription-based platforms, little Zoom parties, chat rooms, which obviously, a little chat room action here. I can see that Chris has said Shuckstall. So
Shuckstall.
Yeah. Now, take care during sex if you're going to have it. Kissing, obviously, can pass the virus. And they do say one area of concern, and this is actually in here, rimming. Which, if you don't know what it is, they define it as mouth on anus. Because if you go anus to anus, it doesn't work.
No.
Got to make sure you get the right way around.
2 ends of a magnet. If you try to, they repel.
Got to do it. Got to do it the right time. And then after that, it says maybe you should make it a little kinky. After you've done the rimming. How common is rimming with the young people these days?
Surely,
back in my day.
If there's one time to not do rimming, and there are many times to not do it, but during a global pandemic.
It even says virus and feces may enter your mouth and could lead to infection. Yeah, no shit.
Well,
literally.
Wow. That is
physical barriers are recommended, like walls. So a little glory hole action going on there, and or just masturbate together.
Yeah.
Which obviously we do every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:00.
That's why you can only see the camera shot from up here.
I mean, with all these sex tips here, obviously life has changed, especially in New York. And I just have to think, if it were redone now, it really would change that classic New York show, Sex and the City.
No. No.
That's how I spent my day, Steve.
That guy's going to wake up looking like he's got freckles. It's going to be like he's like a school kid.
Because it was a good one, wasn't it? It was had that. And I have to. I mean, come on. The timing on the fart with the music there, that was craftsmanship.
That's what you spent your day doing. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you do the acting, I do the fart editing. That's the second fart I put in the show. Well, that you've heard.
Nice. I can't believe that this show has received some good reviews, and yet what have we done?
So now that we got the reviews, we've got 2 good reviews, by the way. Yeah, that's where we dumb things down a little bit.
We both said it's amazing how this show, the concept of doing this online show, has received better and more reviews than we got in Edinburgh last year.
Yep. We're both paying for PR.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got some questions I think you need to answer on this one. Well, Stephen says, my early sex life was based on a series of strategies. Unfortunately, those strategies were devised by Confederate generals. Oh, turns out you didn't mean to brag. And then there's also a couple of comments from Sharon. She, I think probably the video or the concept of rimming has made her say, whoa, and then the green just about to throw up face. What happens if you throw up during rimming? I don't really understand. There's blowback, and maybe there's a valve.
No, I think that's actually fine.
Chris has got a question for you. He says, do Americans do dogging then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What are you talking about? We have dogs in America. What do you mean?
Yeah. But you also have, you might have been called like coyoteing or...
Yeah. Wilderness hunting. Or Donald Trump that's what he does when he has a new child born. We've got, we're nearly over time. We've got, Gita has said, gosh, learning so much. There we go. That's what we like to see. But she says we're making the world feel slightly better, which is also nice. Thank you very much. There's been a few more Ko-fis thrown our way, so we appreciate that. The website is there if you would like to throw us one. And also, don't forget to spread the word about the show. That's the main thing. We really like people watching. If you want to share it with people, tell people that you enjoyed it, or warn them off. I mean, it's a public service announcement either way. We're on every Tuesday, Thursday at 9 o'clock in the UK, so that's something to check out. Yeah, I think any other questions before we head out into the night?
All caught up with the messages. I concur with the previous comments. These, after we finish the show, it's going to be available online on YouTube. You can find it on Facebook, wherever. Spread a link if you've enjoyed it. Send it to someone that you liked. And we're back. And I'm doing a gig on Friday night. At midnight with Ivor.
Nice.
You got a gig coming up this weekend?
Oh, yeah, actually, Sunday, Crack Comedy at 8 o'clock. We've got Crack Comedy Live, which is a Zoom comedy show, which is, they're not as shit as you'd think they'd be. That's the tagline for the show. And we've got Jarlath Regan, we've got Juliet Myers, and also one of my other favorite acts, Ola. There we go. It almost escaped my head. Come and check us out 8 o'clock on Sunday night, and it's on everywhere.
Also, if you watch this video back, you can actually press pause and see the moment in Eric's eyes when he realised he'd forgotten someone's name, and then the moment his eyes changed when he remembered that name again.
Yeah,
it was quite something.
You can see that. It is something. Yeah. So good times for some of my favourite acts on Sunday. And we're just glad that you were here watching with us today. And we'll be back on Tuesday.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that's the link, ko.fi.com, all the thing right on the bottom if you'd like to help out. If not, just keep the good vibes. We'll see you Tuesday. Till then.
See you then. Cheers. Bye-bye.